A very good evening to you and welcome to CoreTV News. And this hour, I am Nena Nyama. Almost 6 months after he assumed the reins of office as Nigeria's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally inaugurated his cabinet. Swearing in the ministers at the presidential chamber, Buhari says his administration will diversify the economy by exploring and developing the agriculture and solid minerals sectors. According to the president, diversification will help guarantee food security of Nigerians. President Buhari also reiterates the government's preparedness to end the Boko Haram menace and decisively tackle the spate of kidnappings in the country.
To build a stable and inclusive government by reaching across our various ethnic and political divides. With the inauguration of ministers, our government shall continue more decisively to implement its policies in respect of the economy and in other areas, while working hard to maximize the revenue from oil. In the face of a sharp decline in the price of the commodity, we are determined to diversify the economy in agriculture to enhance employment and explore solid minerals as a major revenue earner.
Has promised to cut the size of his government, President Muhammadu Buhari has reduced federal ministers from 42 to 24. This, according to him, will help keep the ministers manageable and check wastages.
Of the present challenges we are confronting, I believe all Nigerians will keep hope alive and sustain their optimism about the future of our economic well-being. The ministers have been rationalized and reduced to 24. These are the ministries and their ministers. I wish you the best of luck. Number 1, Abubakar Malami, son, Justice. 2, Geoffrey Onyema, Foreign Affairs. 3, Khadija Abubakar Abba Ibrahim, State Minister of Foreign Affairs. 4, Brigadier General Mamman or M.M. Ali, who brought the rear defense. 5, Adamu, Education. 6, Professor Anthony Amuka, State Minister of Education. 7, Mrs. Kemi Odioshun, Finance. 8, Okichuku Eni Lema, Industry, Trade and Investment. 9, Ms. Aisha Abubakar, State Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. 10, Dr. Senator Chris Nwabuze Ngege, Labor and Employment. 11, Barrister James E. Ocholi, State Minister of Labor and Employment. 12, Muhammadu Bello, Federal Capital Territory. 13, Abdurrahman Bello Dambazo, Interior. 14, Udoma, Budget and National Planning. 15, Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, State Minister of Budget and National Planning. 16, Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku, State Minister of Petroleum Resources. Speaking here is the substantive Minister of Petroleum Resources. 17, Babatunde Fashola San, Power, Works and Housing. 18, Mustafa Baba Shahuri, State Minister of Power, Works and Housing. 19, Chief Audu Innocent Agriculture and Rural Development. 20, Heineken Lokfobiri, State Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. 21, Chubike Rotimi Amechi, Transportation. 22, Senator Hadi Sirika, State Minister of Aviation. 23, Isaac Olorinsho Adeole, Health. 24, Dr. Osagi Ehanire, State Minister, Health. 25, Senator Aisha Jumai Al-Hassan, Women Affairs, Her Excellency. 26, Pastor Usani Uguru, Niger Delta. 27, Claudius Omole Daramola, State Minister of Niger Delta. 28, Bertha Adebayo Shitu, Communications. 29, Lai Mohammed, Information. 30, Amina Mohammed, Environment. 31, Ibrahim Usman Jibril, State Minister of Environment. 32, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, Water Resources. 33, Barrister Solomon Dalon, Youth and Sports. 34, Kaede Femi, Solid Minerals. 35, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, State Minister of Solid Minerals. 36, Dr. Obonia Onu, Science and Technology. Thank you very much.
Away from that, some senators have described the process of selection of chairmen of committees and the constitution of additional committees as illegal and unconstitutional. Senator Kabiru Marafa raised the issue under Order 42 Rule 2 of the Senate Rules and asked the leadership of the Senate to reconstitute the committees and its chairmen in line with due process. Correspondent Basia Aye reports the references were made to disregard for seniority and legislative structure.
The presence of
the row over the composition of committees brewing in the lower chamber may be seeping into the Senate. This follows a point of order raised by Senator Kabiru Marafa, who cited several sections of the 1999 Constitution and the Senate Standing Rules. In his submission, the actions of Senate President Bukola Saraki amount to impunity.
Mr. President, Section Order 97 1 to 7, just like Section 3.1 of the Constitution that spelled the number of states of the Federation under the local governments in the Federation. And nobody can increase or add any additional state in the Federation without recourse to the Constitution. So also, our order spells the number of standing committees and special committees that this Senate can have. And it is fixed from Order 97 1 to 57. Mr. President, attempting to create additional committees without recourse to this House amount to placing the cart before the horse. And my fear is one day we will have a precedent that will equally increase the number of states of the local government and write the Senate for confirmation.
Marafa, who refused to outrightly reject his selection as chairman of the Committee on National Identity and Population Commission, spoke against turning the Senate to a rubber stamp gathering. His case was supported by his colleague from Kaduna North, Suleiman Hunkuli, who sought further clarification but was referred to the rule book by the Senate President.
I wish to be guided by referring to the same committee on which authenticity is questioned. Mr. President, I don't seem to understand.
Distinguished, you've asked to be guided. Let me guide you. The rules are very self-explanatory and well-guided. So unfortunately, I have to rule you out of order on that.
The points raised were in the end noted and forwarded to the Senate Selection Committee. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Senate has given an official response to the issues raised by Senator Kabiru Marafa on constitution of committees and his leadership. Senate spokesman Aliyu Sabi stated that there was no legal grounds for questioning the nation's constitution and the Senate's standing rules. He maintained that due process was followed by the leadership of the Senate. The Senate on Tuesday adjourned plenary as a mark of honor for the clerk of the Senate, Adedotun Durojaye, who passed on Friday, November 6. The motion for adjournment was moved by Deputy Senate President Ike Kwerimadu. Lawmakers, including the Senate President Bukola Saraki, who spoke after the news was brought to the attention of the Senate by the leader Ali Ndume, described the deceased clerk as industrious, responsible and selfless.
It is with heavy heart and deep sorrow I inform you about the passing on to glory of our able and dependable acting clerk of the Senate, Mr. Adedotun Olusola Durojaye. Maybe most of you did not notice Mr. Durojaye was sitting where the new clerk is sitting now. And as you must have observed, distinguished colleague, Mr. Duro went through protracted illness, being strong enough to come for his duties up to the last moment.
We've lost a very committed staff, somebody who has been part and parcel of our story. And this is the first time we're having a situation where a clerk of Senate is dying in active service. It's been our tradition, sir, that when a senator dies, we cease from sitting on the next date after, next sitting day after we receive the news of his death. And now that this is happening for the first time, I would like to appeal to this Senate that after paying our respect to him today, by way of a 1 minute silence, that this Senate do adjourn in due respect to him and to the active service that he died for, and for all that he stood for as acting clerk of this Senate.
Mr. Durojaye Dotun, I was only well known, as we all who had the experience to work with him, seeing somebody who was very calm, responsible, and very hardworking. As our colleagues have all said, how he was right up to the point of his illness, he was still coming to work and doing his best. It's a great loss. As I said, not only for the National Assembly, to our country. We all miss him dearly, and we all pray that the Almighty God will grant his soul in eternal rest and fortitude for his family to bear that loss. At this point, I'll put the question to those in favor of prayer one, that we have to observe 1 minute silence in honor of Mr. Durojaye Dotun. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And the second prayer is that we adjourn in honor, adjournment of the Senate today in honor of Mr. Durojaye again. Those in favor of that say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We observe 1 minute's silence. May your soul rest in perfect peace. Amen.
We'll take a break now, return with more stories. Do stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest,
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we'll bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody have the right in Nigeria,
where you are the judge.
Glad to have you back. You're still watching CoreTV News and this hour. For more of the news stories, join us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space news. Some aggrieved members of the House of Representatives under the All Progressive Congress (APC) are demanding the dissolution of committees in the lower chamber. The group of 25 representatives, led by the member representing Goroyon Gada Federal Constituency in Sokoto State, Musa Sakin Ada, said they have lost confidence in Speaker Yakubu Dogara, who they insist is not a true party man. They also described the elaborate inauguration of the committee's leadership as a propaganda. The lawmakers spoke at the APC's National Secretariat in Abuja. Our correspondent Basiaye reports.
It's almost certain that all is not well within the ranks of the APC in the House of Representatives. After months of a simmering crisis, the composition of the leadership of the House has opened the unhealed wound of the recent leadership crisis. Now, some members elected on the platform of the ruling party have openly accused Speaker Dogara of being a closet member of the PDP. They specifically accused him of dancing to the tunes of the opposition to their detriment.
Upon his emergence as Speaker, Honorable Dogara insisted on foisting his misguided and arrogant imposition of so-called federal character in the body of principal officers of the House, so as to frustrate the early stabilization plan of the House as proposed by our great party, the APC. Since climbing to the seat, Dogara has refused to belong properly to the APC House caucus, frustrating meetings and instead remonstrating openly with PDP legislators, including holding clandestine meetings to plot the downfall of our party. In furtherance of this trickery, he has severally frustrated efforts by patriotic members who wanted to table salutary motions aimed at commending and encouraging Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari's anti-corruption measures so far taken. In the same vein, the Speaker has continued to suppress critical and dissenting voices from contributing in debates at plenary sessions, while shamelessly promoting the dominance of activities of the House by hostile opposition elements, the PDP.
On the composition of committee chairmen, these APC lawmakers insist that what Dogara did was unheard of. They cited examples to justify their stance.
Unfortunately, under Speaker Yakubu Dogara, the majority party, APC, got 50% share of committees. Same with PDP and other minority parties, which equally got 50%. No legislature in the world had ever shared committee on 50-50 basis between the majority and minority parties. There must be a clear-cut margin between majority and minority parties, as was done in previous assemblies here in Nigeria. Was it not, in the U.S. Congress, the current majority party Republican enjoys 100% committee chairmanship allocation, while the minority, the Democrat Party, is only considered for deputies, and also most African parliaments do not share them equally.
Although the press briefing was held at the party's secretariat, the party's position on Dogara's action has not been officially made public. But the loyalist group in the House has raised the stake by branding Speaker Dogara as one politician out to work against the interests of APC and President Buhari. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
While the issue of the House of Reps standing committees continues to generate controversy, the issue also has created a sharp division within the ranks of members of the House of Reps. Jamil Afegbu has more in this report.
What is clear from the inauguration of the House committees is that the leadership crisis is far from over. House leader Femi Gbajabiamila and some of his perceived loyalists were absent, but the event went ahead unhindered. Despite talks about some opposition members getting juicier committees, a member of the selection committee, Abubakar Kanike, says the process went well.
I would say that we tried as much as possible to put the square pegs in square holes and the round pegs in the round holes, because members had an opportunity to come up with a summary of their experiences and qualifications and competences. And that is, and they were even given the opportunity to list committees where they would want to serve, where they felt they could add value. And most of these members were actually designated to serve in those committees.
It is on record that Honorable Dogara has consistently taken the APC for granted on past occasions, including the following: showed contempt for APC's leadership by spearheading a boycott when the former attempted to offer guidelines to House members before the election that threw him up as Speaker with slim majority. Upon his emergence as Speaker, Honorable Dogara insisted on foisting his misguided and arrogant imposition of so-called federal character in the body of principal officers of the House, so as to frustrate the early stabilization plan of the House as proposed by our great party, the APC. Since climbing to the seat, Dogara has refused to belong properly to the APC House caucus, frustrating meetings and instead remonstrating openly with PDP legislators, including holding clandestine meetings to plot the downfall of our party. In furtherance of this trickery, he has severally frustrated efforts by patriotic members who wanted to table salutary motions aimed at commending and encouraging Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari's anti-corruption measures so far taken. In the same vein, the Speaker has continued to suppress critical and dissenting voices from contributing in debates at plenary sessions, while shamelessly promoting the dominance of activities of the House by hostile opposition elements, the PDP.
The committees are expected to hit the ground running, but there are suggestions that areas of interest may not have been taken into consideration.
Almost every House of Rep member belongs to a minimum of about 5 committees, and they have an opportunity to add value and oversight executive activities to these committees. Having the privilege of being chosen as a chairman or deputy chair is just added responsibility, just like the Speaker himself and the Deputy Speaker and the principal officers of the House. It's just first among equals to coordinate the activities. It doesn't undermine the primary purpose of representation.
In line with cutting down costs, the number of committees climbing from 87 to 97 also raises eyebrows, in spite of Speaker Yakubu Dogara's position.
The Speaker did not say that we are not going to spend money. What he said was that extra committee does not necessarily amount to extra budgetary affair. The amount of money you spend on 10 committees cannot be the same you spend on 11 committees. That is true.
The House now has the full complement of functions with the committee leadership in place with inauguration. What Nigerians anticipate now is for them to make relevant laws that will be of immense benefit to the populace. Jamil Afegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Away from that, the Army authorities are seeking petition, memo or complaints from members of the public on the involvement of Army personnel in politics. Panel Chairman Major General Adebi Oyebade said this at a news conference in Kaduna. He said the panel is investigative and recommend appropriate measures to prevent a reoccurrence of accusations made during the 2015 general election. The panel also include 4 Brigadier Generals Emmanuel Kabuk, Sanda Simeon and Mohammed Ibrahim. Our correspondent Amina Nebi has more in this report presented from our studios.
The 2015 general elections elicited criticisms in some quarters, especially from the general public, particularly on the conduct of some army personnel in some states. Chairman of the committee said some of the allegations centered on the governorship elections conducted in states like Ekiti, Osun, Rivers and Akwa Ibom.
You recall during the course of the gubernatorial elections of last year, especially Ekiti and Osun states, and thereafter the general elections of this year, March this year, there were quite a number of allegations made against members of the armed forces, especially the Nigerian Army, because we are on the ground, and which elicited criticism from some quarters. And as a result of that, and consequent on the appointment of the Chief of Army Staff some 3 months or thereabout ago, he, as part of his vision for the Nigerian Army, which essentially is to have a professionally responsive army able to discharge its constitutional roles.
He also spoke on the modality and deadline for submission of the panel resolution.
The process is on. Of course, if there are officers who have gone way beyond their assigned legal task or orders, the panel will say so. If they are not found wanting, will say so.
The panel chairman wants members of the public to submit any evidence, petitions and memorandum on or before November 20th. The panel has 2 weeks deadline to turn its findings.
We'll take another break now, return shortly with more stories. To stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back. Former Benue State Governor Gabriel Suswem has been formally docked on corruption charges before a federal high court in Abuja, but was granted bail in the sum of 100 million naira with one surety. Suswem was docked alongside his former finance commissioner Omodachi Okolobia on a 9-count charge of money laundering preferred against them by the Economics and Financial Crimes Commission. They both pleaded not guilty to all the charges. The trial judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, ordered them to remain in EFCC custody pending when they fulfill the bail condition. Judiciary correspondent Basil Okafo has more in this report presented from our studios. Then into law of the...
After days of interrogation, the EFCC on Tuesday finally arraigned former Governor Suswan and his former Finance Commissioner for money laundering. The accused persons are alleged to have diverted proceeds from the sale of shares owned by Benue State Government and Benue Investment Property Company Limited. The alleged diverted money is 3.1 billion naira according to the charge sheet. When the charges were read to the former governor and the co-accused, they both pleaded not guilty. Their counsel, Ahmed Raji, thereafter applied for bail, which the prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs did not object to.
The complaint, the charge was read over to the two of them, and they pleaded not guilty, thereby putting the onus on the prosecution to call his witnesses and then present his case. So that has been done, is adjourned now for trial. Meanwhile, he was released on bail because he was granted administrative bail, which he never jumped, and also after the charge was served on him, he was also similarly granted bail. So it will not be proper for me to come and contest bail when he has been released twice on bail. So that's why the courts granted him bail.
Charges, and he pleaded not guilty. We applied for his bail, which was not opposed, and graciously his lordship granted him bail on conditions. So we're trying to perfect the conditions of the bail.
Are those conditions friendly?
They are okay. The conditions are okay. And by the grace. The whole essence of a bail or condition is to ensure that the defendant attends the court, and he hasn't an history of abstaining from proceedings or running away from the country. So we were able to convince the court that it's not somebody who will jump bail.
And in granting the request, the trial judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, granted the accused bail in the sum of 100 million naira each. He ordered them to produce one surety each that must be of grade level 12 in any federal or state government agency. Justice Mohammed equally ordered the accused persons to surrender their travel documents to the court and be remanded in EFCC custody until conditions are met. The matter has been adjourned till December 8th and 9th for trial.
Since the signing into law of the female genital mutilation bill by former President Goodluck Jonathan, awareness against the trend has either been slow or totally silent. To this end, the high-level meeting on female genital mutilation has been held in Oshogbo, the Osun State capital, by wives of state governors to create more awareness against female genital mutilation. Our correspondent Rashid, who was in the meeting, reports from Oshogbo.
According to the United Nations Population Fund, victims of female genital mutilation in Nigeria stands at a staggering 19 million, accounting for 16% of the victims worldwide, with Osun State having the highest number of victims. This, according to the country representative of the United Nations Population Fund, calls for concern.
Across the world, 140 million girls and women have been subjected to FGM. 86 million girls born in 2010 to 2015 are at risk of being cut before 2030. 8,000 girls are mutilated per day.
In the fight against genital mutilation, the state governor Omofaregweshila charges concerned stakeholders to be sincere in the awareness drive.
All the women here, without exception, are circumcised. Both left and right of the device. So you are all wondering, what are they talking about? Those of you are even speaking. You are asking yourself as you are speaking that, can this thing be true? But the truth is this. Some customs and cultural activities are good generally, but some are primitive.
Some of the wives of the state governors call for concerted efforts in the proposed awareness campaign against female genital mutilation.
To eradicate female genital mutilation, female genital cutting, or female circumcision in our society.
Let us move to our local governments and sensitize our people. Let us tell them that female circumcision is bad.
Female circumcision has been guided over time with religious, cultural and social sentiments. With the difference between circumcision and mutilation not really clear, more enlightenment seems to be the only way to ensure that the message gets to the right quarters. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
And that's it in CoreTV News and this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Nina.